take my hand. We'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Okay. Let's see, get me framed in there. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello, Anna. Hey, Tammy, yay. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. I think my... Awesome, welcome. I am just getting set up. I had a cat sleeping on my lap. And, oh, good for, oh, cool. Oh, good, awesome. Tammy, I'll see you on Thursday then. Let me know what time. Okay, I have a cat. I had a cat sleeping on my lap till just a couple minutes ago. I was afraid I was going to have to cancel the whole thing because if you have a cat, you know that feeling of that inability. When you have a cat sleeping on your lap, it's like against the forces of the universe to move them. Okay, hold on one second. What did my... had a little notebook. This will do. All right. Hello! Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night mini medicine card reading. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. I'm going to light up the candles on my altar here. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. All right. So, welcome everybody. If you are new here, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and we are going to pull some medicine cards. Oh, my phone, I need a new phone holder thingy, my bobber. Let's see. That'll work. All right. So, as I said, we are here to pull some cards. And if you are new here, the way this works is for the first 5 people to say yes in the comments, they get a 1-card medicine card reading. And the reason I do 5, I used to do 6, but the reason I do 5 is because if you were to come to me for a one-on-one reading, you would get a 5-card reading. The spread I use is a 5-card spread, and so at the end, once we've done all the 5 1-card readings, then I take all of those and put them into reading for the community. So I love the poetic way that the individual readings get woven into the community and everything. So if you're new here, if you want a 1-card reading, we have 3 spots left. All you need to do is say yes in the comments. Let's see here. Nope. Okay. The first thing I want to do before anything else is create sacred space. I like setting sacred space because when you set sacred space, between the time you set sacred space until you release that sacred space, everything in between is ceremony. And life is basically ceremony. And so even though we're just pulling some cars, not doing anything like high magic or anything, I like to set that sacred space just to help kind of focus our intentions, right? Sacred space, when we set sacred space, it's not to keep the bad things out that want to, eat your soul or whatever. It's more of calling in the spirits to hold a space around you to focus so that you can let go of the world, let go of the resistance and fears, and open your heart and actually focus on what you need to focus on without, um, because the spirits are holding that space, you don't have to be hyper vigilant. So here we go. Spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Only love gets in. Only love is invited. Wow. All right, my friends. So, if you're just coming in, I see a couple new people coming in. Welcome. Hi, Tiffany. Awesome. So, if you're just coming in, if you're new here, again, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. I'm so happy you came in. We're pulling some medicine cards. And the first 5 people, I've got 2 spots left. So the first 5 people to say yes in the comments get a 1-card reading. I've got 2 spots left. But if you are not one of those first 5, you don't, you stay tuned. You can still stick around, because all you need to do in that case, or if you're watching this on replay, you can just choose a number between 1 and 5 and listen to that card. And I promise you that Spirit has this beautiful way of interweaving our messages, and that even though it may be technically aimed towards someone else, that the message, whatever you need to hear, will be in that message as well. So there's 2 spots left, and let's go ahead and get on with it. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. All right, card number 1 for Anna. Ah, cool. Card number 1 for Anna is salmon. Salmon is about going home, right? Salmon is about, I'm just writing it down so that I can find the cards at the end when I do the 5-card reading for the community. But salmon is salmon is that unerring compass back to your origins, right? It's returning home, returning from whence you came, returning to that original purity and innocence and divinity that you came from, right? And it's kind of this, what's coming through right now for you on is like, this is like a real turning point of where that voice, that still small voice, like they talk about, like in the Bible, like God speaks in a still small voice, not in the hurricane, not in the storm, but in that still small voice, right? And when salmon comes up, it's like that still small voice within you is louder than the world, the voice of the world, right? It's like you've turned toward that stillness, you've turned toward that peace. Um, you've turned toward your own truth, right? And we talked about this last week. Me and you did about that Martha Beck quote about truth feels like peace, right? Um, and so it's turning toward that stillness, turning toward that feeling of peace, that sigh of everything is all right. Um, because in returning to that origin, returning to that purity, that's who you've always been. You haven't gone anywhere. It's not so much a matter of going and regaining ground that you've lost. It's more about just remembering that you've always had it. Just like all those different mythologies and stories, and there's always that thing about it was in you all along. Just like the ruby slippers, right? There's no place like home. There's no place like home. She had the ability to go home every moment she was in Oz. And it's kind of the same thing. It's finally recognizing that it's the recognition that nothing you have done in the past can prevent you from arriving home. There is nothing that you have ever done, there is nothing that has ever happened that can undermine the sanctity of your soul, that can take away that power, that innocence, that essence of who you are. Nothing. And just, I mean, even like, this is a weird thing to come up. This is what's coming up with my guides are nudging me toward, like, even when we think about past lives and different things like that, right? And we have contracts and different things, and a lot of times those kind of things are thought of in terms of karma, like, well, you did bad last. Hi, Lasati, yay, good to see you. We think about, oh, I did something bad in a past life, so I'm being punished in this life to balance it out. But that's not what happens, okay? This world is an illusion. This world is like all of us. We're like kids playing in a sandbox, right? And it's like, hey, this time you be the bad guy, I'll be the good guy. Next time I'll be the bad guy, you be the good guy. We'll see what that feels like. It's like you're here to experience every possible permutation of what there is to experience. There is no good, there is no bad, because you are eternal. And that's part of the reason that we forget who we are during this lifetime, so that we can learn what it's like to be in that position of being the good guy or being the bad guy, right? Like, I used to go to see Ramtha, the Enlightened One, down in Yelm, Washington. And one of the things that he said is like, we are aspects of the divine, right? And our modum operandi, is that what it's called? Our purpose is to make known the unknown. It's not to abide by certain rules. It's not to, have limits. It's to be unlimited in what we experience, right? Because this world is literally a dream. And, you've had dreams where you're the bad guy. You've had dreams where you were persecuted. You've got dreams where, you're being chased or whatever. It's like in that dream world, it seems real. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, it was just a dream. It still kind of shakes you up. Maybe you might still have those feelings, and you might, by interpreting them or, examining them, you might learn something more about yourself. But this life now, this physical life here, is no different than that dream. We are the divine dream. And this is about waking up. It's like you've turned a corner. Instead of just going with the flow of society and the rules and obligations and expectations, you've turned around to go toward your heart, to not just blindly follow the way of the world, the way of the dream, to continue the dream. You're starting to wake up, right? And that's every religious philosophical structure talks about enlightenment, about awakening, because that's exactly when this is a dream and we are waking up from it. And when we wake up from it and remember who we are, none of this stuff is like, and don't get me wrong, right? I need to qualify that in saying that doesn't give okay, how do I word this? There's still, so when you start to turn around and start to follow that still small voice, that compass within you toward joy, toward love, toward fulfillment, toward awakening, right? It's not a matter of good versus evil. It's about truth versus fallacy. It's about, we are all all one, right? And so the more we wake up, the more we move in the direction of wholeness, of inclusion, of honor and respect. And in a way, I kind of look at at the past, like the human history of the world, as that's kind of our playground. And if you know, we think of a lot of times we think of time as linear, right? And so our past lives are still affecting us, and what we do now is affecting our future lives, but it's all simultaneous. Right now, what you do affects your past lives. Your future lives, who you are in a future life, is affecting what you do right now. And it's not so much a matter of right versus wrong, it's a matter of alignment, right? And so you can, your future life can be into the past. There's no limits. You can, like, your oversoul, for higher self, whatever term you would like to use, who you really are, you can, like, finish this lifetime and think, you know what, I really want to see what it would be like to be in the Crusades, to have this devotion of a quest, and to give up everything to go on a pilgrimage, and so you can be reborn, Your future life could be reborn into the past. The past is as unwritten as the future is. It's a matter of which timeline you're currently aligned with. All that to say, I don't know why that came up or why I went into all of that, but it's like where we are in the history of the world right here, right now, seems to be the grand awakening. More people are waking up right now than ever before. And if you're watching this, if you are in this time, there's a reason you're in this time, and that is to align with the truth of who you are. Right now is the time of awakening, the time of union, the time of waking up to the oneness and the connection. And there are still people here, of course, with what's going on in our world, especially in the United States, that are still kind of bucking that. They're refusing to go upstream. It's like everything I want is, trying to, we've always done things this way, and trying to get power and greed and everything else. But they're fighting a losing battle, because it's time to turn toward center, to turn toward our origin, to turn toward who we really are, to awaken to who we really are. Hi, Sylvia. Yay. You got a card. There's one spot left if anyone is watching, if anyone came in late. I've got one spot left. This is currently card number 1. And so it's kind of like coming to that place where as the structures of the world are falling apart, as the organization of the world falls apart, as we discover, even like if you look at the just archaeological discoveries of recent times, it's like we keep finding deeper and deeper details of the past, and our past keeps getting pushed further and further back. The beginning of civilization, according to the archaeological evidence, keeps getting pushed back further and further and further, right? If you don't believe me, Google Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Everything is changing. Our past is literally changing in real time. Who we thought we were is not who we really are. And the world is changing to reflect that. I remember back when I was first discovering metaphysics and all this kind of thing, I was really heavy into the Seth books, which I highly, highly recommend if you haven't ever read the Seth books. But he was talking about Atlantis. And one of the things he said was the reason we haven't found it yet is because it didn't yet exist in our past. The past that where we were on one timeline, and the past, the timeline that Atlantis existed was over here. And so our timeline was moving closer and closer to the timeline where that was our past, right? Like if you've ever heard me talk about manifesting, like when you're manifesting something, when you're setting that intention to manifest something in your future, that intention, those vibrations, those prayers don't just go forward in time. They go in every direction. They go in the backward, and they change your past. Where, say, you're looking for a new job, so you're in your present moment. You're setting out these intentions, these visualizations, etc., for a new job. But before you can create that new job in the future, you have your now moment has to align with the past, where certain people had decided to begin this store or begin this company, and it's like, 20, 30 years in the past or 50 years, so that in the future, in your immediate future, um, that that company exists in the past. That moment before you set that intention, that company didn't exist. But as soon as you focus in that moment, set your intentions, those intentions go backwards to create the past where that happened, right? And it's kind of like the, um, what do you call it? Why can't I think of the guy's name? There's that effect where certain things, we remember things wrong. There's certain things in the past, like the Fruit of the Loom logo. I still remember it having that cornucopia with it, but apparently that's never been a thing. And it's like we've jumped timelines, and there's a lot of people, including me, who remember that Fruit of the Looms. I distinctly remember the cornucopia with it. But apparently, according to the records, that logo has never existed. It's just been a bunch of fruit. Um, why can't I think of it? It starts with an M. It started with the African man who a lot of people thought he died in prison, and then all of a sudden he was alive and became president, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I'll think of it. It'll come up when I'm Mandela. Thank you, Tammy. The Mandela effect. Nelson Mandela, like, so many people remember him dying in prison, but then all of a sudden he was alive and he was released and he became president or whatever. I don't know that. I'm not up on the politics and all that, but he became president. And so, and I personally, I remember, if you know who Jimmy Smits is, I remember all the news stuff. I remember watching it on the news, seeing it in the headlines that Jimmy Smits had died. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching the next Star Wars movie, and boom, there he is on the screen. It's like, so the past is just as unwritten as the future is. We're constantly, especially now, we are rising at such a rate that we are constantly jumping timelines, personally and globally. And there are things that, like a lot of the old prophecies, no longer hold sway because we've totally jumped out of the reality where those were even possible. So, all that to say, congratulations for listening to your heart. You have turned a corner. You have literally turned around and are heading in the correct direction. Listening, like, so the voice of your heart is much louder than the voice of the world. And it becomes a thing where it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing or thinking or saying, because you know the way home. Oh, I had never heard of that one, Tammy. You have some splaining to do. Apparently, they never said that. Oh my God. I used to watch Lucy all the time. That is bizarre. I was not aware of that one. Wow. And there's certain, I can't remember the details now, but I remember seeing a movie, or I remember having seen a movie with a whole different movie star, and all of a sudden that and And I wish I could remember which movie it was, and I wish I could remember which movie star it was. But at the time, I totally remember because I could hear the lines from the movie in that person's voice and everything, and all of a sudden, that movie didn't exist, and the movie starred someone else. It's really bizarre to try to express that, but I have those kind of memories. Of things that, like Jimmy Smith's is the biggest one. And I was at my friend's house one time, we were having a gathering, and I mentioned that my everyone else was like, what do you mean he died? My one friend was like, yes, I remember that too. So it wasn't just me. It was like, it's really interesting. So in other words, the present is your point of power. Now is the only moment that there is. There is only now. There is only harmony. There is only love. That's a song I wrote a while back. But it's true. It's like those are the truths. So when we get to the point where we're no longer caught in the politics and expectations and obligations of the dream, we can start to align ourselves with love and truth and harmony. So I hope that makes sense. I may be rambling a bit tonight. I might be pulling out on different tangents, but I hope that made sense to you, Anna. All right, card number 2 for Tammy. Sorry. All right, Tammy, card number 2 is skunk. It's really interesting because, as some of you know, besides being a shaman, I'm also a cartoonist, and I actually was yesterday and today I've been researching for a comic I want to draw, and a lot of my comics are anthropomorphic, like the characters are animals. Some of them are ones that I've been drawing since I was like this tall, that I still draw. But the one, one that the one that I want to draw is a zorilla, which most people have never heard of, but it's a lot. I probably shouldn't even started that, but it's synchronicity that I was looking at. The zorilla is an African striped polecat. Looks almost identical to the skunk, but they aren't even related. The zorilla is related to the weasel family rather than the skunk family. It's just interesting that that skunk came up right now, and it's like this parallel evolution. It's like they both have the scent that they do for self-defense and all those kind of things. But anyway, so skunk is really about, well, the book says reputation, right? In that the same way that you can always tell if there's a skunk coming down the path because you can smell them before you see them, right? That's reputation. It's like your presence precedes you. It's like that energy that surrounds you, and it basically clears your path before you. It'll clear the path of those who might find conflict with you, those who don't like your scent, and it attracts to you those who do like your scent, right? Do like your energy. So um, there's a thing about, and it's about, and that reputation um, is a result of congruence, of um, integrity, of owning all your issues, right? Um, it's, gosh, what am I trying to say? Because you are so clear in who you are, because you own your own issues, you're not blaming everyone else, you're not spraying indiscriminately at other people or situations or whatever, you are in yourself. There's a more potent energy. Your energy is more potent because it is so distinctive. I'm trying to think of a different way. It feels like there's a different way to say that, but you're owning your own energy. You're owning your space. Um, and so that energy is like this self-feeding loop of power. You're not giving away your power. You're not sucking in other people's power. You are self-contained. And that makes your energy more potent. It makes it more palpable to those who are around you. Um, and and it's because like the discernment. Whenever we have like a black and white animal, one of the messages is discernment. It's like focus. There is no gray, right? Um, it's like there's the dark and the light. Neither of them are bad. It's like the yin yang, right? Working in harmony together. Um, you've done the shadow work, so the shadow, the darkness doesn't scare you. It doesn't, um, you actually delve into the darkness when you need to, because that's the womb, that's the place of creation that feeds the light, right? And here's an interesting tidbit that just now came to me. I don't think I've ever said this before, but if you look at the proportion of the black to the white, it's like there is so much more of you in the black, in the unknown, in the unseen, compared to the light, the part of you that is seen in physical reality. Um, there's so much more depth to you than is seen. Um, there's a deeper well of resource and than what anyone could ever. Anyone who knows you, like especially like just surface wise, and that have no clue how deep you go. But at the same time, because of that congruence and that integrity in yourself, people can feel that. They may not know what that is. They might not know why they feel like they can trust you. They don't know why they feel inspired by you, but they do. They may not be able to describe it. They may not be able to put their finger on it. But because of all the work you've done You have become a force of nature, basically. You have become instead of like, I'm trying to figure out how to put this into terms that make sense. But instead of being someone who takes in energy and puts out energy and, you know, um, metabolizes and transmutes energy, like dealing with what's coming at you and changing that energy, you have become a power source yourself. You have become a power plant that emits your own frequency in all directions. You're no longer, you're kind of off grid. You're kind of creating your own grid. You're no longer taking from the grid of other people or society. You're creating your own frequency. So you are literally helping to power the new world, right? The new way of being. You have no idea of how powerful you are and how much you affect people. And because of that, but because of that power, um, because you're awakening to it and you're aware of your power, and you don't need to feed off the power of others, or you don't need other people's power in order to feel complete. Um, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. You've got everything you need. You're self-contained. Um, you're self-completing. You're self-rejuvenating, right? And therefore, because of that, you can be the soft, cuddly woodland creature. You don't have to be the big, scary monster, right? There's nothing to be afraid of. And so you can let down and you can be cuddly, because at any moment, if you need to, you can blast anybody or anything you want. Um, so yeah, it's like humble little skunk just tootling around around the forest. Um, but you change everything you touch. Every person, every person you come into contact with is changed because of you. And some of them might not like it. Yeah, like flower. Flower. Um, and I'm not saying that you're isolated away from everything, that, oh, you don't need anyone else. You don't, because we're all connected and we're interdependent, right? But when I was taking Sandra Ingerman's training, shamanic training, we did a journey to see how does power really work. And in my journey, I saw three people kind of standing in for the whole human race. Um, and they were they were in different states of, there was all this power flying back and forth between them. Some were trying to steal the power from the others. Others were giving their power away to the others. And it was just this ugly, toxic, putrid feeling. And the colors were putrid and of this energy. And all of a sudden, one of them, shoop, his energy, um, his energy. Oh, you're welcome, Anna. I'm glad it made sense to you. His energy, he went boom into alignment, and no longer searching for the source of power in the world and other people and outside things, because he plugged in to right into source energy. And so he became this beacon. He no longer was feeding the drama of these other two people. He was never taking energy from them to survive himself, because he was plugged in, right? And once he plugged in and began to emit his own power, his own signature frequency and stuff, it didn't take long for the other two to, yes, like exactly as a pillar of light. You know, we don't, it's like when I would, like back in like the 80s and 90s, we were always talking about being light workers, and we were supposed to anchor that light. We were supposed to be that pillar of light, holding the frequency of light in this world. I never hear anyone talking about that anymore, but it's still true. It's still what we're doing. We are being the divine presence in the world, right? And our job is to align and plug into that source energy, that source power, and to broadcast that into the world. And so once this one person did in my vision, didn't take long for the other two to do that. And, you know, with just the two of them, once one of them went, the other person had no choice but to align, because there was nothing left outside of them that could feed them. So it's about that plugging in, that alignment, and letting that be your source of power, because that is where your power comes from. That is who you actually are, right? And that's the source of the intuition. That's the source of the synchronicities. That's the source of everything. You have one source. And, you know, you might get a paycheck from other people. You may get food from a different, grocery store or whatever. But all of those things are aspects of being plugged in. It's like those things flow to you because of the alignment. So, yeah. You are a powerhouse. As if anybody could doubt that before. But in a different, it's again, it's not so much that you've changed, but that you've deepened. You've deepened into that dark, into the depth of the unknown, the unseen, great mystery. And that makes all the difference. So, there you go. All right, card number 4 for Tiffany. No, card number 3, sorry. We have one spot left if anyone wants a card. We still have one spot left. If I don't get any takers, I'll have to wing it at the end and just do a 4-card reading. We'll figure it out. I'm starting to see a pattern. Tiffany, card number. Hi, Sarah. Is it Sarah? Sarah Lily. Awesome. Thank you. All right, card number 3 for Tiffany is porcupine. Porcupine is basically the inner child. Porcupine is about innocence. Talking about being a power plant, right? I was explaining to a friend one time porcupine medicine, and I actually did a little drawing for her to show that, like, if I draw porcupine, right, and then have all his quills radiating out from him, he's like a little star. If you look at each quill as a beam of light, porcupine is like a star. And when you think about it, those quills are just a higher frequency of hair that surround him, just like when I set sacred space earlier. That's what I was doing, was calling in the spirits to hold this higher frequency vibration around us, so that we could focus on our stuff and not have to worry about what was out there or anything. And it's kind of like porcupine is about that sacred space. Porcupine has his own sacred space just by being who he is, right? The quills, it's not an armor that he puts on to protect himself from the outside. It comes from within him. It's an aspect, it's an expression of who he is. And so by being his true self, he's already protected. Innocence is its own protection. We always think of innocence as so rare. We think of this world as so tainted and ugly and screwed up that we view innocence as this rare commodity that has to be protected at all costs, when innocence is its own protection. That innocence, that light, doesn't need to be protected. It needs to be bolstered, right? Align with it, not protect it. As soon as you try to protect it, you end up limiting it. I don't know if you can hear the popping and stuff crackling in the background. I've got my virtual fireplace going. That was just a really loud pop. And the truth is that innocence this seems to be the theme tonight, that innocence is who we actually already are. That innocence and that purity is the truth and the essence of the universe. It's the truth, it's the love, it's the good, the true, and the beautiful. And I remember, thanks, Lasadi. You like my shirt? It's murdered and missing Indigenous women. Is keep boosting the signal. It's one of my most passionate causes. So when we can remember our innocence, when we can remember that I'm I'm just trying to like again like put things into words, kind of unravel the feelings and the images coming to me. But um, am I back? Someone just tried to call me and I had to turn it off. We are awakening to what's already there, to who we already are. We're not trying to, um, we're, we're not trying to raise our frequency, right? Raise our vibrations, like, I'm trying to raise it, trying to push it up there. It doesn't work that way. When you do that, you're actually lowering it because you are setting yourself apart from everything else. But you are already whole. You are already divine. You're already a high frequency being. When your soul is left alone, it naturally rises because you are already that higher frequency up here. And the more we struggle against it, the lower we get, right? And so the innocence, it's that remembering of who you really are. And when when we can move into that innocence and that purity of our spirit, we're up here where most other things are down here. So it's like other things don't even pertain to us. Um, Other things can't harm us. Um, and so again, it's about that alignment with our higher self, but that higher self, quote unquote, is not separate, right? We still tend to think of, oh, me, this piddly little physical being, and then I've got my higher self up here who's dictating, what tests I have to go through and what lessons and blah blah blah, and what I'm allowed to do and experience. But there's no separation. That is who you really are. And when you can remember that, that's what I mean basically when I talk about the universe is on your side. The universe has your back because the universe knows who you are up here. And when you can let go of the limited thinking and beliefs, and when you can let go of the judgments, and thinking about the way things are supposed to be, etc., that's when you start to approach becoming that higher self. Then everything that happens to you is a step toward home. It's a step closer to becoming that pure, innocent self. Um, and so the end, like so, Porcupine knows that he's already protected. He doesn't have to keep looking over his shoulder for predators, for people that want to do him harm. And so he's free to just shuffle through the woods and explore and have adventures and um, just be open to what is happening rather than trying to force it, trying to like protect himself. Um, and so the more that we can move in that place, um, like if there's a challenge, if we're being challenged in some way, a lot of times, according to our old programming, we buckle down and we have face it, with fists clenched and hunched back, like ready to push through it. Um, But that's how we lower our frequency, and that's when those challenges become more solid and harder to get through because we lowered our frequency. But if in those challenges we can remember who we are and focus on what makes you, this is totally from Abraham Hicks, like focus on the joy, focus on what makes you feel good. Because whatever makes you feel good raises your frequency. And even if it has nothing to do with that challenge, you're gaining perspective, you're gaining height on whatever this is, and this becomes less and less an issue. And from a higher perspective, you can see around it. You can see that this issue, whatever it is not catastrophic. It's not all that exists. That there are other options. There are other solutions, right? Kind of like when Einstein said that you can never solve a problem with the same energy that created the problem. That the solution has to come from a higher energy, a different energy. And so when you're in a challenge, by letting go of the challenge and focusing on what makes you feel good, you actually gain ground and you gain insight and you have a higher, a more panoramic view of possibilities and choices that you might have to get through this, to resolve this, right? And a lot of times, speaking from my own experience, when a challenge comes up, the challenge isn't the actual challenge. That's not the actual lesson. The lesson is, can I let go of that, let go of the resistance, and breathe into who I actually am up here? That's usually the lesson, not actually pounding this thing, whatever it is, into the ground so that I can have free passage. It's about how much can I align with myself, and that is when miracles happen, right? If we're controlling everything, we're not leaving room for miracles, but miracles are what happens when nature is left unimpeded. And if you're not leaving room for the miracles, life is just so much tougher because you're having to do all the footwork yourself. You're having to cause everything and make everything happen. But when you can align, things happen by themselves. They tend to work out. All of a sudden, a solution that you never thought of just presents itself, or whatever this challenge is just taken off your plate, or someone else comes in with the information you need. Again, your only source is the divine, and any challenge that you're facing, the solution comes from there, not from hand to hand, right? So play, do whatever brings you joy. That is your path. And that is our compass, right? That is our divinely given compass to follow our bliss. We're supposed to go in the direction of joy, not try to get away from pain or away from toil. We're supposed to go toward joy, right? And so be good to yourself. Let yourself enjoy your life, right? That is the point of life, is joy. You are meant to enjoy it. You're not meant to be enslaved. So love what you love, right? You are what you love, not what loves you. Kyle C. said that. It actually is a quote from another movie or something, Nicolas Cage movie, but I don't remember what movie it is. But it's basically love what you love, because when you love what you love that you love cats, that you love books, that you love whatever it is. Because when you can love that you love those things, that love is who you are. That is your essence. If you ever want to know who you are, Focus on what you love and focus on the feelings that come up when you think about what you love. Because those feelings aren't originating like, I love my cat. I'm looking at my cat sleeping on the couch over there and I love her. But that feeling of love isn't originating from her. That's that's that awakening of that feeling inside of me. That feeling is my feeling. And she reflects that. She's the mirror that reflects that feeling back. And so when you can look at what you love and you can own that feeling, that's who you really are. So do what you love, do what brings you joy. That is the assignment. Okay? So good job. All right, card number 4 for Sivia. Just got a different song in my head. It's kind of a Christmas song. Aha. Aha. Ba-da, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Bum, bum, ba-dee-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dee-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum. Dum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum, ba-bum, bum. Bum, ba-da-da-bum, bum, bum, ba-da-bum. Woo-hoo! Pulling out the big guns now. All right. So Sivia, card number 4 is Jaguar. And Jaguar is about integrity. And not just the integrity of what we talk about, like walking your talk and you know, doing the right thing even when nobody's looking, right? Integrity is about wholeness. Integrity is about like the integrity of a ship, right? If the hull of a ship's, if the integrity of a ship's hull is compromised, you're gonna have water coming in, right? Which is gonna sink that ship. Like they say, you don't sink because of what's around you. You sink because of what gets in. And if you have holes in your energy, you have things coming in, you're never going to be able to be whole. But this is like stepping into your power. You know, using the other, like porcupine, etc. Like you're shining so brightly, there's no place for anything to come in. Like a fire hose, like the water is blasting out of that fire hose so fast, so much that you don't have to worry about dirt or anything getting into the hose because there's so much coming out. When you're in that power, in that alignment, you are shining so much light that there's no place for anything other than you to get in. And so there's that, you know, and that other kind of integrity, the walking your talk and doing the right thing, etc., is kind of secondary. That's kind of the secondary result of being in your integrity. It's like the secondary one is how you express yourself when you're in that place of integrity, right? And it's that place of being sovereign, right? Who's more sovereign than cats, right? Like Lion King, etc., right? It's like you are the apex predator. You are sovereign. You You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to justify yourself. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. And when you're that connected within yourself, it's like thought and action are simultaneous. There is no separation, right? It's not a matter of, let's see, am I in my head or am I in my heart? It's like, it's just like, boom, you think it, it's done. Like jaguar, like taking out an antelope or a deer or something. It's like she sees it, and it's like she doesn't even think about it. It's just this flow of energy, and she takes it down. There's no overthinking, double thinking herself. Well, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do? What are the repercussions, etc., etc.? It's just like, I'm hungry. My heart, your heart is your authority, and you're hungry. There's an antelope. Choom, it's dinner, right? But at the same time, um, like I just said, her heart is her authority. Her heart is what leads her. And her heart, in harmony, being that which connects her with all other living things, um, her heart guides her to take the weakest or the slowest or the sickest of the herd. And therefore, by feeding herself, she's actually strengthening the herd. She's making the herd quicker and healthier and stronger. And so it's a mutual benefit that, there's none of this, you know, um, taking everyone else into consideration of my actions. When your heart says something, your heart is what connects you to Creator first off, right? Source energy, that's your only source, and it connects you to all living things. And so when your heart leans towards something or nudges you or guides you in a certain direction, you can trust that your heart has already done the calculations. Your heart can't help but move toward oneness, toward inclusion, toward the highest good of all. And so if your heart says something, you don't have to rethink it. You don't have to, it's like your heart says it and you're good to go. Um, and so it's like this fierce self-compassion. Trust is the key, yes. Trusting yourself, trusting your feelings, trusting the intuition, trusting your heart. And I mean, if you think about, so the antelope, right? They're according to, like, if antelope had their own mythology, jaguar would be the big bad demon cat, right? Like the monster, the evil, right? But at the same time, like I said, jaguar is serving the herd by taking what is her, like taking the weak or the vulnerable. And so even though the antelope can't see it, the antelope will react poorly to the jaguar. In other words, don't let other people's reactions to what you do change your feelings about what you do. People are going to react in different ways, right? Don't gauge the reaction. Don't gauge your heart or how good you are by the reactions and judgments of outside people. Because not everyone is ready to awaken right now. Like I said, it's like this is like this great morning with there's more people waking up on the planet right now than ever before. But not everyone is a morning person. A lot of people begrudge having to get up and wake up and pay attention, right? And so your light, like there was a saying about that, like your light may wake up other people's demons, but if it feels whole to you, if it feels good and enlivening and joyful to you, you can trust your heart and trust that um, if it makes you more whole, it is also doing so to other people, no matter how they appear to receive it. If they struggle against it, it's like it's not that you did something wrong against them or that you have to, oh, I'm sorry, I'll quiet down. Like Marianne Williams says, there is nothing enlightened by playing small for the comfort of others, right? You are here to be a star. You are here to shine your light. And if other people can't handle it, that's their lesson. That's their challenge, right? Because they are just as bright as you are. And if your light blinds them, then even if they go off into the darkness someplace, you've just planted a seed that eventually will, sprout, and they will come into their own knowingness and awakening to their own light. Um, so take everyone else out of the equation. This is a zero-sum game. When we all do better, we all do better. If it's for your benefit, it's for the benefit of everyone. It's a mutual benefit. It can't be any other way. And but it's like that. Oh, that's what I was going to say before, was that fierce self-compassion. Do you hear the pop of the fire going, yeah? um, that fierce compassion, that fierce holding your boundaries, not giving an inch if it's not right, not compromising. I just watched Captain America: Civil War the other day, the movie, and it's like there was that quote there that Peggy Carter's niece was saying at her eulogy about how Peggy always said, if the whole world says you're wrong and you know you're right, your job is to stay put. I don't remember the exact words, but it's like to plant yourself like a tree and refuse to move, even if the whole world says you're wrong. If you know you're right, your job is to stay put. Because your heart is your authority. Your heart is the voice of the divine, right? And so no one in the world, no one in the cosmos has the authority to tell you that you're wrong. No one in the cosmos has the authority to tell you what's right for you and what's not right for you. You are sovereign. You are the queen of your own jungle. But like in The Lion King, right? It's like, as long as the king works in harmony with the rest of life, with the circle of life, everything is in harmony and everything is for the highest best. Everyone is in joy. But when you get someone at the top that doesn't realize that and is greedy and thinks that their power comes from stealing from others, or it becomes that like an algebraic equation, like A plus B equals C, and if you take C, you have to give something back, like balancing it so that the rich are on the shoulders of the poor. It's like there is a world where we are all rich, not necessarily even financially, but there is a world where everyone is whole and well and happy. It's coming. Think Starfleet, think Star Trek. But your only responsibility is to yourself. Because that responsibility to yourself is your responsibility to everyone else. To be the biggest, brightest light that you possibly can be, no matter how anyone else takes it. Just like that Mother Teresa quote about, when you're kind, people might think you have ulterior motives. Be kind anyway, right? And there's a whole stack of other things that she says along that lines. And at the end, it's like, because it was never between you and them. It was between you and God. Alignment. If you're moving in alignment, you can do no harm. And that's how you fill yourself. All right, card number 5. For Sarah Lily. I love that name. I love your name. Ha! All right, so Sarah Lily, card number 5 is Buffalo. Talk about self-containment. Buffalo is about abundance. Buffalo is everything in one package. It's one-stop shopping, right, to the Plains Indians. Buffalo was everything. Food, shelter, clothing, tools, everything they needed came from Buffalo. And so it's the presence of everything. And so there's this, like, along the lines of everything else I've said tonight, it's like, you already have everything. You already are everything that you could possibly desire. Oh, you're welcome, Sylvia. When you want something or you desire something, to realize that it's that longing that proves that you deserve that whatever it is you're longing for actually exists, because you couldn't long for it if you didn't know how it felt to have it. I love how I don't know if you guys can hear the crackling of the fire, but it's like it keeps crackling at certain points. When I say a point, it's like crackle, crackle. When you have those desires and those wants, when you have that longing for something, that is proof that it's already a part of you, because you would have no reference to it otherwise. You couldn't feel its absence if you didn't know how it felt to have it, right? And so when you have that longing, that's the universe's compass saying, go in that direction. This is your next stop, right? Because in the quantum reality of life, everything you'll ever need, everything you'll ever desire, you already have on one timeline or another. That it's already a part of you. It can't be otherwise, right? And again, it comes to that alignment with Source. That is literally the source of your power, the source of your well-being. And when you have that alignment, there's nothing anyone else can do to foil that. When you have that, Just like that old saying about with God, all things are possible, right? It's like there is no limits when you realize that you're connected to the divine, when you realize that divinity is your essence and your very nature, there is nothing that can be held back from you. You are all things. You have all things. And so it's this being the embodiment of everything, and knowing that if you don't have something in this moment, that in the moment that you actually need it, it will be there. It's like it's that trust again, that flowing, knowing that, like, oh crap, I don't know how to do that thing. I need information, and all of a sudden someone says something out of the blue that gives you that information, or leads you to a website, or something will happen. The universe is infinite. The source energy is infinite and has such, we have such a limited view here in the physical realm. And the universe, source, divine, can see every possible permutation of every possible variable. And so if you want something, it is already yours. Like Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, I'm a realist. I believe in miracles, right? And so when you have that alignment, um, everything you need, like there's an affirmation I used to use all the time. I don't so much anymore. I'm not sure why, but it's like everything I need comes to me easily and effortlessly. And that can be finances, that can be food and shelter, it could be anything. Um, Everything I need comes to me easily and effortlessly. Or even better, it's like I always have everything I need. So it's that moving into abundance thinking rather than scarcity thinking. Knowing that there's always a solution, knowing that there's always a way, that there's always there's no, like John Lennon said, there's no such thing as problems, only solutions. Um, Instead of the scarcity thinking where there's limited resources and you have to fight and fight and fight to get what you deserve, to get what you want, get what you need, um, and feeling like you don't deserve what it is that you want or you desire, right? And so this is about shifting that. And so this coming up, especially since it's upright, it's like it's either something you're just realizing or it's something that's in your near future, but kind of shifting into that abundance mindedness, seeing the connection of everything, seeing how everything in your life has always worked out to get you to where you are right here, right now, right? You wouldn't be here if things hadn't worked out. That is my most used affirmation. Everything is always working out for me. That's the essence of that thought. It's like no matter what it looks like, no matter what my monkey brain wants to say, I've got to go through this hoop or this hoop or this hoop, or that's impossible to get that or to make this happen. When I start to remind myself that everything is always working out for me, that's when miracles happen. That's when, like Joseph Campbell says about, when you follow your bliss, where there were only walls, doors will open. And I've had that happen so many times. It's a natural part of my life, actually, it's like I'll hit a wall. It's like, okay, rather than keep pushing and pushing and banging against that wall, okay, let's breathe for a minute. What do I really want? And then focusing in alignment, aligning rather than pushing. And all of a sudden, oh, wait, there's a door. Oh, where did that door handle come from? You know, please be a secret door. Please be a secret door. Yay. Um, so you will have everything you need. It's like, this is like dreams coming true kind of stuff. Everything you have ever wanted, everything you have ever wanted to be, right? Like, again, like Abraham Hicks talks about, you can be or have anything you desire. It's unlimited. You just have to believe. You just have to believe in yourself, right? Believe that you are worthy. Know that you deserve. If you can desire it, you deserve it, right? Hi, Ange. I don't know how to say your. We already have. I'm actually on our fifth card, so I don't have any spots left tonight. But I'm about to do the community thing. So that is our last individual card. I hope that made sense, Sarah Lily. So I keep forgetting to grab a. I'll do this. I'm going to take all 5 cards that we just did for individuals, and I'm going to put them into a 5-card spread. And this is a sample of what you might get if you came to see me for a one-on-one reading. This is the spread I use in my normal readings. And so it might be an abbreviated one because I've been talking a lot tonight, but it'll give you a taste. And if you ever want a one-on-one reading where we can focus totally, this is still, even though I'm doing individual readings for individual people, there's still this sense of generalization. And I don't always get the chance to, 1, 2, 3, 4, what am I missing? Oh, where did he go? Oh, he jumped over there. That's why I couldn't find him. If you wish, if you need guidance, if you have questions, not sure you're on the right path, not sure what your next choice is, or whatever, what am I doing? Okay, boop, boop, boop. All right. So, I would love to do a reading for you. And if you come to me, this is basically the form that would take. Let's see if I can get. Can you see all of them? Maybe I can do a more. There we go. Whoops. So I keep meaning to grab like a piece of leather or something to have as kind of a, so you don't have to look at my dirty floor, but this is my reindeer drum bag. So got something pretty to look at. So this is the spread that I will use if you come to me, and it's called the Medicine Wheel Spread. It's basically the 4 directions and center. And because my phone is on, I think it's on the mirror setting. I don't know if it might be flipped, but this is east, south, west, north, and center. So, and so this is taking all the individual readings I already did for people and weaving them into one reading for the community. And so starting in the east where the sun rises, east is air, so that's the mental realm, and over here we have salmon. And and before I go any further, I just want to point out that all the cards came up tonight upright, which totally blows the law of averages out of the water, because according to the law of averages, there should be at least 2 cards facing the other way. And so the fact that they all came up upright is a testament to, number one, how well everyone was doing individually, as well as to how well we're doing community-wise. And so salmon is about going home. So being in the east, right, is kind of like the beginning of the spiral, this hero's journey. And so this is like we are starting to see, we're starting to well, just going with the flow of the river is no longer satisfying us, right? It's like we're starting to see there's got to be something more than this old routine. There's so much more to me than what is seen. And so there's this turning around, seeking, hearing that, like I mentioned earlier, that small, still voice within, and starting to actually answer that, starting to prioritize the information coming from within you rather than the information coming from outside of you. And so this is kind of challenging our thoughts and our beliefs, giving more credence to the evidence that there's more to life than what we can hold in our hands or see with our eyes, and starting to take that turn, hearing that call of our origin, returning, wanting that, feeling that craving and that longing to return home. The world is too chaotic, but there's this piece of us, like I said earlier, like Martha Beck says, truth feels like peace. And so we're starting to, instead of following the cacophony of the world and the opinions and rules and obligations, we're starting to go toward the little breadcrumbs of peace and follow those upriver, counter to what the direction everyone else seems to be going. But at this point, we don't mind, we don't care if we're called crazy. Like Epictetus, a Greek philosopher, said, if you're going to improve, you have to be content with looking foolish and stupid. And so this is the beginning of our journey, our hero's quest, changing our minds, starting to look at things different and thinking there might be more. Seeing hints of what's beyond the veil, beyond what we're being told. and prioritizing things by how they feel rather than how they appear, right? And from there we move to the south, which is fire. And so fire is the place of action, is the place of passion, and skunk is about, it's interesting that skunk and jaguar are opposite each other, because I was talking about integrity for both of them. But skunk is that coming into focus, right? This is in the mental realm. This is in the head, right? Where everything starts, right? Everything starts as thought. Before anything is ever manifested, it starts as thought. And this is coming into a place of more um, steadfast um, knowingness, not just hoping that it's real, not, floundering, fishy back and forth about maybe this is real, maybe this isn't real, but starting to realize that it doesn't matter what the world says is real, because you're coming into understanding and knowing the realness and wholeness of yourself. You're no longer like seeing the threats of the world and spraying and blaming, like seeing threats and blame and other people or other, if that hadn't happened, I would have been so much further in my life, blah, 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 right? That's the way we give away our power. That's the way, like Skunk would be spraying incessantly at other things. But you can't, when Skunk does that, she's vulnerable because it takes a while for the glands to rebuild that spray. And so when we give our power away and blame everything else and everyone else for where we are, for who we are, we can't, we're extending our own power. We're just spreading it out so that we can't find, that power in ourselves. And so this is about starting to realize how the way you think, the way you act, the way you are affects the world around you, that it's not an inside, from the outside in. This is where you start to live from the inside out. And you realize that your energy, the energy that you put out into the world, changes the world around you, affects the world around you. The world is not just this objective place and you're just this being that happens to be walking through it. You are intimately connected and interdependent with everything around you. And so the only thing you have control over is you. And so this is that claiming of your own power. Bringing things into focus, black and white, right? There's no gray. It's like black and white, knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, and not being afraid of the shadow, not being afraid of the dark, knowing that the dark is your resource. That's the womb where all things are created. And so it's like a deepening of understanding, even if you can't put it into words. It's a deepening of that understanding of who you are and your place in the universe. And that, like I said with that Mother Teresa quote, like it never was about you and them. If you act kindly, people will think you have ulterior motives, but act kindly anyway, because it was never between you and them, it was between you and God. And so this is that realization that what you do and how you are in the world defines who you are. It's not that tug of war or power of who's right, who's wrong. Well, they did that to me, so I'm going to do it back to them. I'll teach them. It's about realizing that everything you do is an expression of who you are. And that even if someone wrongs you, you might still seek a solution, whatever that is, but when you seek vengeance or revenge or anything like that, that you're actually lowering your own, giving away your own power, and you're letting someone else's actions define who you are. Like I just read this thing about the Inuits when the United States there was like this official meeting, and they were trying to um, do peace with the Inuit people, and this Inuit woman came in and started talking about what their people needed, and one of the officials was like, we have been, our democracy has been, going for, almost 200 years, whatever it was at that point. And so we know better. How are you to come and speak to us about demands and what's going to be? And she spoke up and said, so you're the ones who have been, following this 5,000-year-old democracy. So you should know better about how to treat others rather than belittling others that come to you. She's like, who's the one that's more mature, the ones who have been following this democracy for 5,000 years, who is speaking down to someone else, putting someone else in their place, rather than being inclusive and realizing the betterment of all, like looking for the best for everybody, right? And so it's like how you respond defines who you are. It's not how others act towards you. It's how you respond that defines who you are, right? And coming up into the west is water. So that is the emotional realm, right? So this is more, it's like when we were over here in the mental realm, it was like who we thought we were, kind of how we thought reality was, and changing our thoughts, changing our beliefs. But this is still kind of, it's like up in your head. This is about coming into our heart. This is more of experiential, who we experience ourselves to be. So by coming around the circle, we come to the place where we're starting to realize and experience those things that we just believed back here. That the things that we thought we believed, the things that we thought were true, we no longer question them. We no longer have to believe or hope because we are those things. We've realized our innocence. We've realized who we really are. We've gotten a taste of our pure spirit, of who we, our authentic selves. And that gives us that, being our authentic selves provides that safe space I was talking about, the quills, that protection. Innocence is its own protection. By being true to yourself, you're actually creating more of a safe space for yourself where there's less things that can come and grab you because you're putting out your own energy and like law of attraction. The universe works like begets like attracts like. And so if you're putting out that sense of truth and authenticity, you're getting back, you're attracting back to you energies that reflect that authenticity. Um, and that affords you that space to be a little more adventurous, to give you a little more courage to challenge boundaries, to challenge limits, to go to step outside of your comfort zone and explore further afield rather than just becoming insular and isolated. It gives you the opportunity to expand and to know yourself as an expanding ring of truth, right? And this leads to Jaguar up here in the north. The north is earth. So that's the physical realm. It's how you present in the world. It's physical self. And like I said earlier, Jaguar is integrity. Jaguar is sovereignty. Jaguar is the apex predator that questions, doesn't question her guidance, doesn't ask permission, doesn't need to justify herself. She's the top of the circle of life, right? But everything she does from her heart. Her heart is her authority. And so she can trust her intuition, she can trust her impulses to be true to all others, because by feeding herself, right, like I said earlier, she takes the only the weak or the sick or the elderly of the herd, and thereby by feeding herself what she needs, she adds to the strength and the speed and the well-being of the herd. So by feeding herself, she's actually taking care of everyone else on that circle of life. It's not a pyramid, it's a circle, and everything interfeeds everything else. So taking care of herself, by taking care of ourselves, we are doing the best thing we could for everybody else. And claiming our own sovereignty, right? Here, like I was saying, like the fact that they're opposite each other, and I talked about integrity with skunk. Skunk might have to do displays, and skunk might have to spray here and there just to establish her place and her integrity and her boundaries. Jaguar is her power. She doesn't have to display. It's like you see Jaguar, you know what's coming. There's no question in your mind. There's no pretense, right? She's hungry, you're dinner. If she's not hungry, you can walk away. But it's like she doesn't have to ask for respect. She doesn't have to ask for honor. Like there's a saying about how truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend a lion. A lion can take care of itself, right? Just like the truth, you don't have to defend the truth. The truth will always come out. The truth will always win. Who you are will always win. You don't have to defend yourself. I remember I read this post and there was these pictures. They wanted to see who was really faster, a cheetah or greyhounds. And so they had this track set up and they had a cheetah in one of the lanes and the others were open to the greyhounds. And so they started the race, they opened the gates, and all the greyhounds took off after that rabbit. Meanwhile, the cheetah just laid there in her little thing, like, I don't have to prove myself to you. I don't play by your rules. I don't have to do anything to prove myself, to justify. I am who I am, and I know who I am. Boom. And that all comes back to this, the intricate web of life, right? The way that the Plains Indians, the Native Americans of the Plains, were so interconnected to buffalo, that web of life, that they were interdependent. They nurtured each other. And buffalo was that one-stop shopping. Everything they needed came from buffalo. Everything, there is nothing, let's see, how do I put this into words? There is no need that cannot be granted, right? Because just like that web of life is a whole system, right? An integrated system. That system that we live in, that is the universe, you can't have a lack in one place without having an abundance in another place. You can't feel a desire for something if it doesn't actually exist someplace. And so this is that sovereignty. If you look at buffalo, the way they just kind of own the land, they own their space wherever they are. And they're part of the land. Buffalo is basically an embodiment of Mother Earth, the way that he provides things, right? um, that abundance. There's no need, there's no want that can't be provided for. And so even when you feel impoverished, even when you feel like you need something, you're longing for something, there's something that you're desiring so badly, that's actually proof that what the fulfillment of that need actually exists. And that you can have and be anything that you can dream of. And so this is really encouraging, especially being kind of the community reading, right? The community, this is like the general movement, and it's like we're moving in the correct direction. We're moving into this harmony, interdependent, um, supporting the well-being of each other and everything around us, right? So this is really encouraging. This is really hopeful. This is what's going on below, beneath the the smoke and mirrors of the news and society and everything else. This is the reality of what is actually happening within each of us individually and in all of us collectively. And it's by realizing our own sovereignty that we can better serve the whole of society, right? So there you go. That is our, oh, let me back up so you're not like extreme close up. um, um, oh, I'm sorry. I can't read your name. Oh, are you, you were here last week, right? Simrano? Simran? Um, I'm actually at the end, and I was actually happy because I'm actually ending on time tonight. Woohoo! But I hope that made sense. Simran, if what I would suggest to you is, um, I this will be I will post this to my Perching Wolf Studios Facebook page, and within the next day or two, it's going to pop back up on my YouTube channel. So I would suggest watching it again and choosing a number between 1 and 5, and see what the message was for that card, and um, yeah. So I'm sorry I don't have the time to do an individual like that this week. Last week it came up right when I was pulling another card, so it flowed into the energy. But if nothing else, this was at the heart of our community reading tonight: abundance. And everything I said about anything you desire, anything you long for, right? And actually adding in skunk that discernment, it's like getting below what maybe the surface desire is, like wanting a job, wanting, you know, an income, etc., and asking what is it you're actually desiring. And it's usually safety, it's usually truth, it's usually peace. And so focusing on manifesting that sense of truth, that sense of safety, of being provided for, of having everything you need, that is the direction to go. And knowing that you deserve that the universe wants that for you. Okay? So that's what I have to give you tonight. I'm sorry I don't have more. But like I said, either rewatch this video or choose another one on my YouTube channel and just choose a number and see what the guidance says. Um, so so that is it for tonight. thank you everyone for joining me. I will release our sacred space, but I have a couple of plugs first. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said, I've got 6 or 7 years worth of videos, of readings, of ceremonies, of different things. As a free resource anytime you need a little guidance or you want some sacred space, you can pull up any of those from the past, and it's just as vital now as it was when I first made the video. And like my videos and share my videos. Hit the bell. I guess that helps with the algorithm somehow. I don't know how any of that works, but and if you wish to reciprocate in a different manner, I have my Venmo link in the description under this video, and I happily and gratefully accept anything you wish to give me. This is my day job. This is how I make my living. And so anything that you wish to give to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, to help me keep a roof over my kitty's head, to keep food in her tummy, is so appreciated. And if you enjoyed this and you would like to work with me individually, you can visit my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can learn more about me there. You can see the different shamanic services I offer, readings and healings and teachings. Oh my! And you can set up a personal reading right from my website. I also do, like I said, shamanic healings, soul retrievals, fairy doctoring, all that good stuff. And I also teach. I do one-on-one mentoring. If you are looking for a spiritual teacher, I have a lot to bring to the table, even if you're not necessarily on a shamanic path. It's a great place to. Shamanism supports pretty much any path that you're on. It doesn't counter any path. It's not exclusive. It lends itself well to whatever your beliefs and your path is. So, and I love sharing it with people. So if that interests you, you can connect with me on my website as well. Anything else? I think that's it for now. I might be forgetting something, but oh well. So I will drum and release those spirits that so lovingly have held space for us tonight. Spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Our work for now is done. You're always welcome in our circles. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Oh. The end, I just wanted to go cha-cha-cha. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for supporting me by watching this video. Thank you for supporting me by sharing this video. And I'm so happy always. This is one of the highlights of my week. I always look forward to it. I hope you will join me next week. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, that I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right, bye now.